Whew. All right, guys. I'm here. A little late, but that's all right. Watching the NASDAQ, looking at NVIDIA, looking at Circle still, honestly. Let me get, I gotta get these AirPods on. These are my wife's AirPods, so bear with me. I gotta add a device. You know, you're supposed to have this button in the back of the AirPods. So look at that 825 level still rejecting on the NASDAQ here. Hold on. Pull this up so we can actually see it. I hope it connects, but you're supposed to have this button on the back of AirPods. Here. What? I'll share the screen for now. We'll get it working. How's the mic? How's the sound? We should be pretty good. Let me make sure. Audio. Whoa. Hold on. What's up, guys? Yeah, honestly, what's weird is like my mic isn't registering again, which is annoying. Let me try to fix this. How's the mic? Does the mic sound good? Can y'all hear me? Probably not, right? Bro, honestly, dude, StreamYard's good and all, but it sucks because it just kind of glitches out for mics. Like the mic, it never picks up the mic. It's kind of annoying. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, y'all can hear me. All right. Let me listen to it as a test stream. Make sure this isn't muted. No, I'm sure it's not as good as my other mic though. Hold on. I'm sure it's not as good as my other mic. Yeah, it's not. Anyways, I mean, it'll be all right. Yeah, I mean, it's picking up my voice. And the NASDAQ starting to pop back up. But I would love. Hold on. Let me try plugging this mic. See, this is the same problem. Same exact problem I ran into the other day. At least in this instance, it's picking my mic up. But StreamYard, man, doesn't pick the mic up appropriately. You plug the mic in, doesn't pick it up. Come on now, StreamYard. You gotta do better than this. Still very bearish today. Yeah, I mean, when we look at the NASDAQ, we dip it down. I'm gonna stop this, reshare. I'm sunburnt today. Uh, some old music. Let me know if you can hear it. Hold on. You're not gonna be able to hear it yet. Should be good. The pods. But dude, it should be picking up my mic. That's strange. Yeah. I guess StreamYard just does a bad job of like, okay, this mic is bad. Gotcha. Test, test. That should be better now, but still. Yeah, market's ripping up. Let me see if there's any news. I see Blackstone plans to invest $500 billion in Europe over the next decade. We got the Bank of America consumer checkpoint credit and debit card spending per household increased almost 1% to 0.8% year over year in May after a gain of 1% year over year in April. So we have that news coming out. We had the Chinese president and the South Korean president holding a phone call while Ni said China and South Korea should promote a strategic cooperation partnership to a higher level and urged to inject more certainty into regional and international situations. The U.S. has also posted a notice of aluminum products. We have some other earnings are out, but yeah, I want to leave. I want to try to leave the stream and come back. See if it like picks up my mic background. I'm looking up other news this morning. Hold on. So what? Was OpenAI down for anybody else today? I'm trying to use it right now. Oh, where's my phone? AI is very slow. Regarding the weird overnight pump and dump, I was searching for a catalyst but couldn't find anything. Yeah. Well, I think the market was optimistic. We had some news that came out much earlier overnight. So like we had some overnight news that came out. Yeah, I'm still trying to run into the issue of okay, dude. Look at the NASDAQ pump. It's up to 850. Okay. Yeah, so another strange thing that happened, and look at the NASDAQ pump up, is that OpenAI OpenAI basically banned my ChatGPT account overnight for no reason. And I'm looking at my tabs, and none of my tabs were bad at all. And this was not just like a this was not just like a permanent ban. Like I reached out to them, and I reached out to them and was like, hey, I don't do anything wrong here. I just use it for programming. And they sent me an email back saying, hey, you're right. This was an error. And they gave me a refund. So now I have to resubscribe to Plus. All right, but look at the NASDAQ pop up. I'm trying to see if there's any news behind this. We have some earnings that came out this morning. We don't really have any like big data dropping today. So we don't really have anything like that today. I'm looking at Bloomberg for articles that came out. Looking on Tuesday. Yeah, we don't have anything today, man. Tomorrow we have obviously CPI inflation and stuff, but it's a scam, 100%, blah, blah, don't do it. It's a scam. Yeah, it's a scam, don't do it, 100%. Somebody said opinion on trade bot companies where you send them crypto and they trade for you. Do not send them money, blah, blah, it's a scam. And they'll pretend like they can make you like big percentages. They'll pretend like they can make you 70%, 100%. Or whatever, and they're going to promise you big percentage returns, and they're just trying to see if you're naive enough to send them money. If you're naive enough to send them money, you'll never see that money again. If you send them crypto, you'll never see that crypto again. Do not do it. Like, these are very well-known scams. Do not do it. Yeah, it could be dipping because of CPI. Try to get my ChatGPT to work. I just upgraded. I'm not going to get with Pro, though. Pro's a little bit too much. Test. It says error in message stream. Is OpenAI down right now? So there's a partial, okay, so there's a partial outage in OpenAI right now. So there is an outage, is what it is. Okay. That's what's going on. There's a partial outage with OpenAI. I was worried. I was like, they better not have blocked me again for some reason. But yeah, NASDAQ up. Look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA at 143s right now. You take a look at it. We've honestly been pretty flat since this big dip midday yesterday. So midday yesterday, we had a big dip. We also had some updates on the trade news, but nothing major. All right, so markets remain cautious as U.S.-China trade negotiations continue in London today. Investors are watching for signs of progress that could avert the imposition of steeper tariffs by either side. New York Fed reports that 75% of businesses facing tariff-induced costs increasing and are raising prices, indicating consumers are bearing the burden and people are worried about inflation from these tariffs. The upcoming U.S. consumer inflation report tomorrow will be closely scrutinized for indications that the president's tariffs are feeding through into customers' prices. Economists anticipate a slight uptick in both CPI and wholesale inflation and could influence the Fed's stance on interest rates. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But that's the big news this week. U.S. stock futures are largely flat to slightly lower this morning. They gained after moving up a little bit after Friday's payroll report last week. The Dow is up slightly, I think, and the NASDAQ and S&P futures are slightly lower. Although the S&P, if we take a look at the S&P right now, is sitting over 6,000, which is a pretty big milestone level for the first time since February. It's driven by strong jobs, but it is over 6K. Warner Bros. Is up a little bit after announcing a split. Tesla showed some rebound after people are maybe hoping that him and the Prez are cooling their beef. Taiwan Semiconductors is up in pre-market after reporting a almost 40% jump in May revenue because of AI chips. Apple had their developer conference going on, but they're still slightly low. McDonald's is low after a downgrade. Casey's General posted fourth quarter results and positive 26 guidance. Robinhood and AppLovin both saw drops after not being added to the S&P. Traders are cautious. The markets are kind of flat right now. Not a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, ChatGPT slightly down. Yeah, I want to see if I can exit this stream. Yeah, I'm going to leave the studio. It might stay blank for a second and then re-enter to see if my mic works. All right, so I'll be right back. We're back. Oh, dude, what is going on with this mic, bro? This mic is literally completely plugged in directly. I want to be able to switch this mic too. I mean, at least y'all can hear me, but I grew up with a Sega, so all I know how to do is see if that works. Which cord is this? This is not, I don't even need this. No, it didn't work. What's weird? Okay, so it's on. You can mute it. Unmute it. Volume's up. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't know. Strange. I know y'all can hear me. It's all good. The mic's just a little choppy this morning, but that's all right. We'll get it fixed. There you go. Yeah, well, we did it anyway, Ed. I haven't had a Sega in a long time. I sound good? All right, cool. I can try to like pull this up. Maybe go to full editing. Yeah, I mean, at least y'all can hear me. That's good. Yeah, I never knew. It destroyed. Yeah, I mean, I'm not traveling that. Look how burnt I am. You want to see me right now? Look at this. Watch this. Like, I am like straight up sunburnt. I guess I'm not that bad, but it could be worse, honestly. All right, so let's trade a little bit. I'll trade some this morning, guys. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. So it has to be StreamYard issues because this happened on 2 different laptops that I brought with me. Yeah, this seems to be a well-known StreamYard option. Basically saying try another browser. Could be the browser I'm using. That's possible too. All right, well, here we go, Chrome. Go away. All right. Yeah, that's the market news right now. We're watching to see if anything else comes alive. Citigroup head of banking says the increase in activity with financial sponsors brought results, apparently. Japan is selling some bonds. They sold almost 650 billion in 10-year, 20-year, 30-year Japanese government bonds, an enhanced liquidity auction. Trying to see any other breaking news this morning, so bear with me, chat. We don't really have any major ones. Some of the big news is that the press. See, bro, it's like I go to a different location and all they show me is nonsense on X. That's the problem. Like, it used to be filled with financial news and stuff, and now it's like, I don't even know what this stuff is. Blackstone, again, planning to invest 500 billion in Europe. We also saw yesterday that Amazon is going to invest a bunch into AI. But look how choppy the E-mini is. I just don't like it. I don't like trading the E-mini. I would have bought this dip at the 200 EMA. It kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders. So this looks like it's going to go up. But we don't know for sure. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Okay. Come on. Yeah, I heard a lot of crazy stuff about the overnight session. John, just wanted to say thank you. You have given me confidence in trading to try Topstep after 3 attempts made it a funded account. Hey, congrats, man. Oh, yeah, I got some coffee over there I need to go get. Natural gas is spiking because the U.S.'s oil platform shutting down. Reduces the availability of natural gas. Yeah, I like NASDAQ futures a little bit more, but everybody's different, man. All right, we just downloaded Chrome. I'm going to set Chrome up right here. Yes. Yeah, so if I open up Chrome and StreamYard and it works, it's just StreamYard using regular. I'm using Microsoft, whatever their browser is called. I don't even know. But let me try to get this set up. It's kind of tough to get this set up. Hold on. All right, so again, we got kind of an inverse head and shoulders here on the NQ. NVIDIA's up to 143s, so it's moving a little bit. Okay. Okay, let's try StreamYard here. So look, there's the NASDAQ pushing up. I honestly really wish I would have bought this dip. Let me mute this background. So, hold on. All right, I'm gonna have to mute everything. All right, I'm back. I had to switch it out. Hold on. Still doesn't work though, man. That's disappointing, dude. So it's not just, dude, I wonder, maybe it's driver related. I don't know. Let me see if we can buy this dip. All right, guys, we're here. Hold on, let me could be driver related, I guess. Does it sound good now? Can you hear me? Test, test. 1 2 1 2. Sound should be pretty good, especially if I get really close. But yeah. So we got this basically up and running. Hold on, I just gotta share the music now. Oh my gosh, that's way too loud. I should have bought the dip, man. Honestly, I really wanted to. You know what? I'm gonna just leave this and come back on the Outlook because that's what it takes. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Whatever. I tried getting the mic to be better for you guys. I'll have to play with it after the stream ends. Let me find a better song. Yeah, look at that big rip, man. I really wish I would have bought this dip. It's okay. We could have done okay if we would have bought this dip. That's all right. Yeah, you got this high up here, 57s. So the inverse head and shoulders work too. You look at Tesla. A lot of people talk about Tesla. Tesla at 316, still volatile right now. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab my call. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was FOMO. I just kind of saw the inverse head and shoulders, kind of would have bought it, but we can draw some levels here. Like this one here. You got a couple over here too, at like 75, maybe I would say, right here. See if we can creep over that first. We got to get over this one here. What's up, Sat? Yeah, I'm on vacation right now. I've been on vacation. Tesla, though, all the way back up to 320s. So Tesla stock showing gains, extending its rebound from big losses last week. Big reason appears to be reported de-escalation of the public feud between the president and Elon, Tesla CEO. Last week, the stock plummeted after a pretty heated exchange. A lot of stuff went on there. But yeah, pretty heated exchange, and Tesla stock went down pretty significantly. Yeah, so the head and shoulders pattern, very simple. I wish I had my pen. I have like a little pen tool I can draw on sometimes, but I don't really have it now. What is this? So you can see the shoulders. So here's the head. Head and shoulders is basically like a peak and then a smaller peak. So a small peak, a large peak, and then a smaller peak, right? So here's a shoulder here. So you gonna let me draw it? It says arrow. Okay, whatever, dude. It's not gonna let me draw it. That's okay. Whatever. Yeah, so here's a peak right here. If you look at it, this right here is a peak. This right here is a peak. And then this is a larger peak. So you have a shoulder, shoulder, a head. So it literally looks like a head, shoulder, shoulder. But this is an inverted one. So this is an inverse one. A normal one is just upside down version of this. But it goes in the counter direction. So if the head is this way, it goes the opposite way towards the feet, or what would be the feet. And so once you see this shoulder, especially at like a big level, like the 200 exponential, yeah, it's probably something you want to watch or pay attention to. Top 3 is like a running joke of my channel. I tell people I'm the greatest at everything, and the top 3 for sure. So it's just kind of a running joke. Probably not, Beth. Yeah, I'm trying to see if we got any other big news. Investors are looking to the robotaxi launch the day after tomorrow in Texas this week. Could be a big catalyst for Tesla as well. Nvidia is still having trouble breaking over 150s. And if we want the NASDAQ, you know, I know we saw, who was it? We saw somebody say, I think we saw JP Morgan say they thought the market was going to break all-time highs this week or next week. I think in order to see that, we need NVIDIA to break highs. NVIDIA has to break highs if we're going to see that stuff, to be honest. And I just don't know. I don't know. You know, like I see this here. This little bitty tie couldn't hurt the visibility of this mic, right? Let me try untying this and putting this in directly here. Next year will be the next rate cut. I don't know, brother. I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think it's gonna be some time before we get some rate cuts. Yeah, if we take a look at yields like this morning. Yeah, if we take a look at yields, bond yields as of now, and remember, bond yields and interest rates correlate with each other. So like if bond yields go up, interest rates are going up. Or the interest rate sentiment is higher, is an easier way to put it. It means sell off. Bond yields going up means sell offs in bonds and higher potential interest rate sentiment. But if we look at interest rates here, and yields are currently at 4.45%. So they're down a little bit, which shows a lower interest rate sentiment. This morning, they're down slightly to 4.45. So I accidentally, oh, my bad, guys. There we go. But yeah, here's bond yields down a little bit this morning. If we take a look at the interest rate sentiment, we're at 99.9% of a pause this month on the 18th. 99.9% likelihood that we're going to pause rates on the 18th. If we take a look deeper into the next couple meetings here, all right, so 99.9%, only a 0.1% chance of a cut this month. If we look into July, yesterday, this was pretty high. Yesterday, I think this was like 70%. Today, it's 85%. We only got about a 14.5% chance of a cut in July. I think most people are still pricing in September cut at about a little bit over 50, at about 55% chance of a 25 basis point cut, 8.2% chance of a 50, and still almost 40% chance of a pause in September as well. Let's see about what's after September, October. So October, there's still a 20% chance that we're not going to cut any rates by October, which is an interesting nuance here. I'm going to buy this dip right now, though, in the NASDAQ. So we're going to buy this dip. We've had a pretty good string of trades, honestly, over the last few days. I don't want to jinx it, so we'll take one micro contract here. First trade of the day. I will add to this if it retraces too much. So we added one micro to it. See if I can make this window small and this window large. Reuters says the Federal Reserve will resume cutting interest rates next quarter, likely in September, according to 59 out of 105 economists. So again, just to confirm, we did recently, even as I was going over this news, according to a Reuters poll, most people think the Fed will start cutting rates in September. About 60 out of 105 consumers think that. All right, so we got a nice little pop-up here. I'm going to go ahead and take some off just to protect. There we go. I'm going to cut out right there. Nice little green trade to start the day. We'll see if we can keep it up, but not a bad little green trade to start the day. I said the last 2 quarters. Yeah, I believe that. All right, guys, so we're up to 860 right now, 860. That little dip buy worked. I really wanted to buy it down here, though. I should have. I was thinking about buying it right here. That's the issue. I should have just bought it down there and made money, but it's all right. They may raise before the cut. I don't think they're going to raise. I mean, I think anything is possible, but I don't think they're going to raise. It's Rode Wireless Pro Compact. Got you. Yeah. See, what's strange, though, about this mic issue, what's strange, honestly, is that I've tried 2 different mics. I have 2 different mics, and I've plugged both of them in, and neither of them register on StreamYard. So it has to be a StreamYard-related issue. It really does. You know, which we didn't run into this yesterday. Yesterday worked fine, but it has to be a StreamYard issue. Because, like, this mic is powered by the laptop. I'm plugging this mic in, and you can see it turn on. And so it's registering that it's plugged in. For whatever reason, StreamYard's just not picking up my mic, unfortunately. Like, that's what's going on. I could always use my AirPod mics or something like that, but it'll be all right. This mic will suffice. Yeah, we do have GameStop earnings. Well, I'm traveling right now, Prime, so it makes it easier for me to run the stream while traveling, to be honest. Like, I like OBS. But if I'm traveling right now and I'm not home, OBS is a lot of work, right? Especially, yeah, it's just a lot of work. If I'm on a travel setup and I've got like an external monitor and like I've only got one small monitor, managing the stream through OBS is going to be difficult stuff, you know? Cutting rates is data dependent. Yeah, I mean, if we see weak economics mixed with low inflation, like if tomorrow's CPI print comes in low, that's a situation in which we might have a higher likelihood of a cut earlier. If tomorrow's inflation data is high, though, like higher than expected, higher than last time, that's a situation where it might even push back rate cuts even more, you know? And so that's a situation where we could start to speculate that we might not get any cuts this year at all. You know, it just depends. All right, so NASDAQ's still pushing up. NVIDIA's still at 143.30s. Tesla at 316s. We'll see if we hold. Hey, what's up, Ruma? I mean, any big news? Not really. It's kind of slow. We got CPI inflation data tomorrow. We have PPI later this week. We got Michigan consumer sentiment data. Today we got GameStop earnings, but nothing really big happening in terms of like morning economic releases. We just don't have much today. It's just not much. CPI weeks generally, like sometimes CPI will come out on Tuesday. Other times it comes out Wednesday, Thursday. This week it's Wednesday and Thursday for CPI and PPI. So tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to have big stuff happen. But today, a little boring. I wouldn't be shocked to see the market trend sideways in a big range today, but sideways because of CPI and the influence of that tomorrow. I also think we have to wait and see if we get any updates on the tariff news today. You know, I think we should see if we get any big tariff updates today. I think that's a really important thing to see if we get any updates regarding tariffs. And I think that's something that a lot of people are going to be watching and paying attention to for sure. You know, let me do a poll. I realized I didn't do a poll today. And paying attention to for sure. You know, let me do a poll. I realized I didn't do a poll today. Yeah, and I'm hearing my mic. It's a little frustrating, to be honest. But hey. We're going to do a poll. Does tomorrow's CPI come in higher or lower than expected? What's the expected number for CPI tomorrow? I think it's like 2 point. Let me see. All right, so we are bouncing up higher. So CPI tomorrow is expected to show up at 2.5% year over year. So let's do the poll on that. All right, look at the NASDAQ pop. All right, so there's the poll. You can vote on that poll live. The poll is now updated. It's 2.5% year over year is what's expected for CPI. We also see NVIDIA rise. NVIDIA up to 143.40s right now. 143.40s for NVIDIA. It's rising up. It's trying to do some stuff. The Capital Group discloses a 5.51% stake in BAB. Around 10 borrowers are considering new U.S. investment-grade bond deals on Tuesday, as syndicate desks are anticipating a plethora of announcements prior to tomorrow's CPI report, according to Bloomberg. And again, we did have that poll by Reuters that said the Fed is going to be resuming interest rate cuts next quarter, most likely in September, according to almost 60 out of 105 economists. So, and they got a little bit more weight than us. But yeah, most people think September is when the cut's going to happen. And I mean, if we look at the CME watch tool, that's what we see. That's what we see. CPI last time showed up at 2.3%. So we are expecting a 0.2% uptick in year-over-year CPI inflation to 2.5%. Now, last time's month-over-month showed up at 0.2%. It's expected today or tomorrow at 0.2%. Core is expected to increase 0.1% for both metrics, both year-over-year and month-over-month. So core inflation is expected to uptick as well. So we do have that. And again, we're just covering news. In terms of the Bank of England, traders are fully pricing in 2 or more Bank of England rate cuts this year. We also had a poll on GDP data. The U.S. economy will grow 1.4% according to this poll in 2025 and 1.5% in 2026, the same as in May. So people are expecting big contractions. They say the Federal Reserve is supposed to cut Fed rates at least twice this year, and they say more than 60% of economists think that as well. 2 times this year, or 2 times this year or more. Do y'all agree with that? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to cut that much, especially if rate cuts continue to get pushed back. This would basically mean that like they're going to start to cut rates, and they're going to keep cutting consecutively, meeting after meeting after meeting. And I don't know. This is something that I genuinely don't know. I don't know what they're going to do here. Yeah, I mean, these are just polls, right? So these are subjective opinions by economists, is what you got to understand. Is OpenAI back? No, OpenAI is still down. Yeah, so these are subjective opinions by economists. Is something you got to get, right? Like these are opinion-based things. Look at this bounce right here on the NASDAQ. So we bounced right at that level I had at 858, right here, same level. No cuts this year. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been saying that. Honestly, at first I disagreed. I thought it wouldn't be possible at all. But lately I've been looking at it. It just depends, man. Like if inflation gets worse, it's plausible. If inflation gets worse, like if we have higher inflation tomorrow, like say we come in tomorrow and it's expected at 2.5%. But say tomorrow we show up at 2.7 or something like that, and the market dumps. That's a situation where we could start to speculate on whether we're going to cut rates this year, I think. Now, we would need to consistently get worse inflation. But I think if we start to get higher than expected, we could theorize on it, you know? No one cares about news, bro. It's actually a really good conversation because it's important for traders to hear how wrong that is. You know, like when you look at the hierarchy of what moves markets, You know, you got technicals on one side, and you got a group of traders that, for whatever reason, think that everything is technically related, which is kind of like they're just kind of going down the deep end, kind of down the rabbit hole. I like technicals. I use technicals all the time. But if we have a fundamental catalyst come out, like CPI inflation is a good example, simultaneous with the best technical pattern ever, what do you think is going to happen? If we get high inflation, markets going down, we could have the best bullish pattern in the world, technical pattern in the world. If that bullish pattern shows up right with CPI inflation coming in 20% worse than expected, it doesn't matter what pattern's there, market's going down, you know? And so you got these like purists, I guess I'll call them, who are all about technicals, and I get it, but you got to be a little bit more resilient and understand different things move markets. It's certainly not pure technicals that are going to influence things in a profound way. Like, you got to look at fundamental catalysts, you got to look at news, you got to look at inflation, especially right now. Like, tariff news and inflation moves markets more than anything else. Like that type of stuff, it all depends on what the market fears, you know. And right now the market fears tariff news and inflation. So the overarching point I'm trying to make is that news is important and you want to pay attention to it. Yeah, what a ridiculous comment. It's an important like learning experience though. It really is. Like, you guys can learn how wrong that comment is. And cheers to you guys, you know. Appreciate the love. I mean, higher, well, okay. Bad is subjective. Bad is subjective, right? But higher is worse. Whether we're talking about higher than last time CPI or we're talking about higher than expected is worse. Neither of them are not necessarily good in terms in the like context of inflation. Neither of them are good. You don't want higher than last time either. In theory, you want like a lowering trend. You want a trend that's going down, right? Now, it's not going to always be able to go consecutively down every single time, but that's the goal by the Fed, especially. And so you want it to be lower than expected. You want it to be lower than last time. It's not always feasible, but that's the end goal of it. And if it's not, that's where you start to get negative reactions. News is all speculation and most of it is lies. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's all lies. And regardless of whether it's subjective or objective releases, you know, or like meaning opinion based or not, regardless of whether that's true, the whole market moves on rumors. Like, what's the most famous saying in trading? One of the most famous sayings in trading: buy the rumor, sell the news. You know, because the whole market is based off of opinions, and you know, that's how it is. It's all about stories. Whether the market is up or down on any particular day is a story. And I get it. Like I said, like I used to have people where CPI would come out and it would come in better than expected, and the market would rip up right at 8:30 when CPI would come out. And then we'd have like technical gurus try to act like the move up wasn't from CPI, like it was some obscure crossover pattern that nobody knew and that he called it because he called the crossover pattern. And it just seems a little bit desperate to me. It's all love, but you know, you got to understand there's multiple things that move the markets. Technical patterns typically move markets as well, especially like extension and stuff like that. But you got to understand when news comes out, what it means, how traders digest it, what's the story of the day, stuff like that. You got to pay attention to it. It's a good conversation, though, honestly. Like I said, I'll have this conversation because it's good. NASDAQ's kind of chopping sideways as we're talking about this, though. Kind of going flat, not really doing much. If it breaks under this level, maybe I'll short it. What do you mean? What do I use to control, man? I don't know. I use a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to cover everything. Yeah, I'm just on a laptop, external monitor right now. Do I want to short this? I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Let's try. The only reason I'm interested in shorting here, I think because we have CPI inflation tomorrow, we might have choppiness today. I think choppiness makes sense, but who knows? You never know, but it's possible we're going to chop today. We'll see. A little bit larger size here. I want to see if this level rejects. If not, I'll cut it. Looks like it's starting to reject. Let's see. Again, not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. Can't guarantee anything. What do I want to do with this? Like, we're already up a little bit, but we could try to add, see if we chop back down. But if we're wrong, we're going to be slightly red. Hopefully not. Let's push back down. Yeah, we're on like a 4 or 5 day green streak. I don't really want to go crazy here, trying to keep the green streak alive. So I'm going to try not to go crazy trying to keep it alive. But we're up really nicely in this account. We could take a withdrawal right now if we wanted to, but I'm just going to wait. There we go. I'm going to limit my size just to, oh no, I added size. I didn't mean to do that. Start to reduce that size now. All right, I guess that worked. There we go. Sure worked. We're gonna cut it right there. All right. So far, so good, guys. 2 green trades, no losses. Catch you back up in the chat. What's the poll look like right now? Yeah, I mean, so Sam said you shorted the bottom of the range. So I honestly waited for a rebound up to resistance. I have a resistance level at like 860, right? So that's what I shorted into. Like I short a breakdown and then like a rebound back up. Um, but the logic of the trade is that this is the day before CPI inflation data. So we got one day before CPI inflation data. Uh, a lot of the time preceding that inflation data, the market is very stagnant, very sideways, very rangy. And so with us pushing up a little bit here, like if we zoom out, us pushing all the way back up here, that trade basically theorized that we would come down. We would have a little bit more downward pressure, chopping sideways, basically, leading into CPI inflation data tomorrow. And again, we were using this level right here, this 860 level. And maybe it doesn't work, but we got enough profit to take it, and we'll sit on the rest and wait. No, I see it. Yeah, no, I see it, Sam. I was just explaining the trade. Um, all good, bro. I was just explaining the trade. Are they expecting higher inflation numbers tomorrow? They're expecting higher than last time. They're expecting 2.5% year over year and 0.3% month over month, which is a little bit higher than last time. And yeah, look at that 860 level, kind of 859 level reject. This was just a previous high if you zoom out. Like, look, this was just a previous high up here that I'm looking at, just to show you guys the like why I shorted this level. It's just a previous high up here, and market rejected it. But yeah, it's all good, Sam. It's such a subjective thing. Question: how does the Fed not look through any terrifying derived inflation? It would be a static input that wouldn't respond to interest moves. I don't get it. They're just looking at economics and like what the normal consequence of tariffs are, which is inflation, you know. Uh, what is the more dovish action? In inflation, lower inflation is more dovish. Dovish is loose monetary policy, like rate cuts is dovish. If you want rate cuts, what do you need? You need low inflation and weak economics. And so a more dovish thing would be lower inflation, not higher. Yeah, traders are also pricing in 2 or more Bank of England rate cuts this year. We're doing pretty good though. I mean, we've had a really nice string of green. I don't know how many green days we've had in a row, but it's a lot. Let's see, including today, which is a relatively small day, but including today, we are running. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green days in a row. Pretty good graph. Average wins larger than our average loss. We're running about 66% of our trades. Mm. Yeah, a lot of stuff's at 8:30. Some of it's at 10, but Michael Saylor says Apple should buy Bitcoin. So Michael Saylor coming out saying Apple should buy Bitcoin. If we take a look at like Bitcoin here this morning, Bitcoin is getting up there. You know, it hit 111s in Bitcoin futures. All right, so we're still putting in lower highs up here. We got the 200 exponential at 840s. We're watching that pretty closely. NVIDIA is still trying to get up there, and I think NVIDIA is influencing a lot of this. Yeah, I mean, CPI is not a Ponzi scheme, just like gold's not a Ponzi scheme. Like, at this point, is PayPal a Ponzi scheme? Of course not. Like, Bitcoin is a valuable thing at this point in time. Most of the people, again, complain about Bitcoin are just people who've missed out on the big bull run that it's made. And so they want to act like it's not anything so they can justify missing out on it, usually. But yeah. S&P valuation is 21.4x forward PE. In comparison, peak 21 was 22.3x. We're close to maxing out. Yeah, maybe. All right, look at this spike in the NASDAQ here. It's a big green candle. See if there's any reason for it. The Capital Group, yeah, see that news. I'm trying to see if there's any breaking news. Hold on. SEC Chair Paul Atkins says they're working on policy to exempt DeFi platforms from regulatory barriers, but that didn't recently come out. See, the problem is like the news I want dropping. MicroStrategy has generated a Bitcoin gain of 76,000 Bitcoin year to date, worth $8.4 billion. So that's their gain, their net yield in Bitcoin. All right, so now we're over that 860 level. I don't know what I want to do here. Still pretty sideways. And again, taking a look at the big news this week, markets are cautious because they don't know what the outcome of the trade meet between the U.S. and China in London is going to be. Investors are watching for signs of progress that could avert the steeper tariffs by either side, U.S. and China. And the New York Fed reports that 75% of businesses are facing tariff-induced cost increases and are raising prices, indicating consumers are bearing, the burden for this. Upcoming U.S. CPI report tomorrow, expected at 2.5% year over year, is going to be scrutinized for any indications that the president's tariffs are feeding into consumer prices. Like, that's the big story of the day, the week, maybe the month. The CPI inflation data today or tomorrow. Economists anticipate a slight uptick again at about 0.2% year over year. Last time showed up at 2.3. Tomorrow they're expecting 2.5% year over year for CPI consumer inflation. On a month over month basis, I think it's expected to go up 0.1%. Let me make sure. Yeah, on a month over month, it's expected to stay flat actually at 0.2% month over month, which still means another 0.2% rise in inflation month to month. But it's the same rise that we had last month. Core CPI is expected to uptick 0.1% year over year and month over month. So last time core CPI showed up at 0.2. Tomorrow they're expecting 0.3. The previous year over year core CPI report showed 2.8%. Tomorrow they're expecting 2.9%. So so we're dipping down a little bit. Again, we got this range going on right now. Here's the bottom of the range right here at about 850. You know, another $0.25 level. We talked about these yesterday. Now we have a top of a range here at about 865 right there. So we'll see what that does. These are the kind of recent levels we're looking at here. We'll see if it holds. Vacation's good, man. I mean, I'm trying to cover the markets for you guys. But yeah, we'll be back home soon. 0.2% ain't bad. Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as it could be. It depends on what people are used to. Let's see if we bounce right here. Again, we're a little too sideways for me to be interested in it, but we got a nice cushion heading into the opening bell. We really do. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Oh, wait, didn't we have Jerome Powell? Was that a dream I had that we had Jerome Powell speaking? Hold on, now I gotta look this up. Hold on. Maybe it's next week. Let me see. Do we have Jerome Powell speaking again? No, we got the Fed meeting next week, so we don't have Jerome Powell speaking. That might have been a dream I had. Maybe that means I'm streaming too much if I got a Jerome Powell dream. Yeah. Who knows? Weird. Yeah, y'all hit the like button. Bump that number up. Look at that 860 level, 858 level holding. Again, a lot of this depends on NVIDIA. All right, so look, there's a pretty big green candle. We're testing the top of the range again here, though. Yeah, I know the president speaks later. I saw that. All right, we're trying to hold. Yeah, we're going to be day trading live at the opening bell today, so stick around, chat. I'm looking at market news. It's kind of slowed, but markets might be apprehensive ahead of CPI. So that's pretty normal. We're going to be day trading NASDAQ futures today. We've had a 5-day green streak. There you go. It's so boring right now though, chat. Will we get better stuff today? Yeah, I mean, it looks strong, Chop, but you know, we kind of need NVIDIA to push up with us if we're gonna get something good here. See? Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at other people. Let me look this up about the press speaking. Oh, he is speaking today. Okay. What time is this statement? So AI says it's probably about tariffs. Not the current time. All right, so we're retesting that 865 level. Okay, so it's going to be about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They say it's supposed to be delivered remarks today, June 10th at Fort Bragg. So, okay, so he's speaking today. It's probably not about tariffs. They say he's going to be joined by Secretary of Defense and Secretary of Army. The purpose of the remarks is to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army and to pay tribute to service members, veterans, so forth and so on, right? So this is not a economic speech regarding the economy. It's just not. So that's not what this is. We are pushing higher. Part of me wants to sell here, though. I'm going to try to sell this at the top. Maybe add up to 865s. We got a cushion. 40 minutes left, but we'll add a little bit into this. Maybe add one more here. 3. Yeah, I'm going to start cutting this immediately. I don't like it. Maybe I should have held this, honestly. Wow. All right, we're out. I mean, I had 3 contracts, so I wish I would have held. I mean, we made a little money here, but I got scared out of it, unfortunately. But there's the rejection. We caught it, but man, wish I would have got a little bit more. We'll see if we bounce a little bit. I'll short it. Again, big choppy range. Kind of easy to predict, though, but... yeah, so it's the Fed. It's the... They can't speak right now, basically, is what it is. Look at these drops showing up. Let's see if there's market related. I don't see anything. Look at these drops. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. It's a big contraction, though. I don't see any really breaking news here to cause this, though. Look at this drop. Yeah, so what I see is Levitt is going to encourage Republicans to aggressively and creatively message the bill, including highlighting that it's the biggest working and middle class tax cut, according to Punchbowl. A lot of people fixating on the bond markets, though. We'll see. Yeah, it could be liquidity sweep. Just a big candle, one of the biggest candles we've seen this morning. So could be a big pullback for NVIDIA. Let me check breaking news on NVIDIA to see if we got anything there. I'm trying to look up breaking news. I don't see anything though. Nothing that might cause this candle. The question is, like, it's still in the range. It broke the bottom slightly, but still within the range, I would say. Part of me wants to short this, but I'll wait. Yeah, the red book's not going to move anything though. Just not a big enough report. Red book year over year, pretty small report. Doesn't really move markets like that. Yeah, I'm also showing that the press speaks at 4. We're bouncing a little bit here. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know what to do here. Unless I'm going to buy the bottom of the range and then attack the top. I think I'm just going to sit tight and wait, man. I honestly want to short this right now for some reason. I'm going to try. It's almost 2 sideways. Let's try. I'm going to take a risk here. About 5 contracts here. Part of me is just telling me to short it. There we go. Take a profit. We'll leave the rest. Y'all can hear the music, right? You should be able to pretty well. And remember, guys, I'm going to put this up just because I should. Remember, not an investment professional, not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment, trade smart, can't guarantee anything. Oh, I got to go. Hold on. Wait. Okay. It could have been worse. We're down about $3 on this trade right now. I'm gonna try to short into this. See if it helps. There we go. Yes, sir. All right. Better. All right, so we made money. That short at that level worked. That's how you use the levels too. If you can kind of see it, like we push up to that level quickly. We're just gonna attack that 860 level that's confirmed it. Very green on the day again. Another green day so far. We'll see if we continue this. You can't hear the music? Hey, can you guys hear the music? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear the music here? Also, how loud is the mic? I could try to turn it up some. Yes. Okay, good. All right, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. Not really any updates on the US and China stuff. We're still pretty boring here. Redbook came out at 4.7% versus 4.9% expected, 4.7 versus 4.9. But that's pretty much nothing. Okay, it's a little low. I got you. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Still trying to get more information on what the president is supposed to speak about today. Let me see if I can find more. Because like even if he's speaking about something else, he's still probably going to talk about the current economic landscape, especially the US-China trade talks. So he still might bring stuff up. Okay, so OpenAI is still down, I think. Yep. All right, so NASDAQ's right back up here. Right back up. Yeah, it's on the anniversary of the Army is what I'm showing here for this. The anniversary of the Army is what he's scheduled to speak about. Look how sideways this range is. And this is what I said earlier. Remember, guys, I told you guys, leading into CPI, a lot of the time we get flat, choppy range leading into CPI. And in fact, like one of the days in which is probably the best to attack strategies like that is the days like preceding big economic events. I say this all the time, but it's incredibly important. And I think it kind of shows you. I said this way back here when I started the stream at like 7, 6:15 is really when I started the stream. So I said this way back here, and we've basically been trending sideways. Look at the level hold too. So the levels I have on the chart works. Levels I have currently are 850, 860, and 865. Those 3 levels seem to be respected in the current range. They're not perfect though. We might just blow through them, blow under them like we just did that 860 level. But we can watch for a bottom at 850. But incredibly sideways this morning, chat. Incredibly sideways. All right, look at that 850 level hold. We don't really have any updates on it. We got a couple small updates this morning about the US and China, but nothing like major. Again, we got a couple news. Tesla rebounded back up. If we take a look at Tesla here, look at that retracement right there at 850. Look at that level, exactly down to a T. Look at this right here. Tesla all the way back up to 315s. Yesterday it was below 3, and so I think people are optimistic now. I think what happened here that is partially driving this. Hold on. All right, we're looking at ECB effective funds rate still at 4.33%. We had somebody say, quote, this is historic. The market value of the U.S. bond market has fallen just 68% of the stock market's value, the lowest ratio since the 70s. This share has halved in 14 years as stocks have widely outpaced bonds. To put this differently, the U.S. stock market is now 50% larger than the bond market. Since the beginning of 2020, the total value of all publicly traded U.S. corporate equities has gone up to 38 trillion, or 69% increase over the same period. The value of total debt securities has risen by almost 18 trillion, 40%. So essentially what this is saying, this is by the Kabesi letter. Essentially what this is saying is that the stock market dominance has gotten much greater recently over the last 3 or 4 years. Like the stock market is outpacing other conventional markets. And that's something that we kind of see. You know, we see the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow, very resilient, up a lot. We're almost back up to all-time highs. JP Morgan actually said they think that we're going to break all-time highs sometime in the next 2 weeks. I don't know if this is true or not. I really don't know. But they think we're going to break all-time highs sometime in the next few weeks. Do you agree with this, chat? Let me know in chat right now. Do you agree? I don't know. All right, so we're back down here. Watch 850. We break underneath that, I might pivot to shorting, even though we are at the bottom of the range, but I'll see. We'll see. Yes, yes. Most people say yes. The question is, do you agree with JP Morgan that we're going to break all-time highs sometime this week or next week? I think it depends on what CPI shows up as. Maybe if JP Morgan has good data, maybe they know something, but their logic is that we're about 3.5% away from all-time highs. And so it's plausible that we do break all-time highs in the next 2 weeks. If I listen to JP Morgan, I'd be broke. Yeah, I agree. Big banks don't always tell us the most true story, realistically. News tomorrow, Fernando, is CPI inflation data, brother. So we got CPI inflation data tomorrow. Big day. What's up, chat? All right, so look, we're starting to break under 850s. No, not really. Still waiting on more news. It's day 2 of the London U.S. trade meet with China in London. So it's day 2 of that. So we'll see. So I kind of want to short this little retracement, although we are kind of bouncing right at that 200 EMA here. I'll try it. Quick little trade. We're just going to keep with one and we'll add to it if we're right. The market could also be pricing in like some type of deal. And I'd be very careful just today alone based off of I think I'm gonna cut this right here. I don't like this at all, so yeah. We lost $6. Something very small. Cutting it quick. Nothing right today. It's running. Yeah. It will be a sideways day until we have any news. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what markets are waiting on and pricing, and that's possible. Look at Tesla fall, though. So Tesla currently dipping all the way down to 314s right now, chat. 314s. NVIDIA at 143s. So Tesla dipping down to 314s, NVIDIA at 143s. We'll see if the market keeps falling. Sideways day. All right, so there's the dip. We did break under 850s. We're starting to retest. I could have held that short, I think, but we got a group of buyers that are stepping in at the 200 exponential. We're gonna have to. Oh, it's not gonna let me sign in on both at once. That sucks. No, whatever. Put this up. I'll try one long position here. Very small. We'll add to it if we're right. I need to add a little bit too. Just a little feeler trade. The 200 EMA can be a nice bounce level, so we want to buy into this maybe. Kind of flat so far. Range is small. And so we added some. We got 4 contracts here. Kind of break even. I'm going to add one more position here. And then we're going to leave it like this. There we go. We're green. Let's see if we go a little bit higher. We got a nice cushion on the day, so I could take some size. I just want to see if we pop it like a little bit higher. I'm going to take half off there and just protect the trade. Very small break even, but I don't want to see us come back down. So we'll get out small. Maybe add back if we pop back up. We got out basically flat right there. There we go. Maybe I should have held, but it's all right. We'll unload some. We're flat. It's rangy, so we're not trying to stay in this very long. The range is still tiny. We'll add a little bit to it here. There we go. All right. Well, we made a little bit. Yeah. The bounce at the 200 EMA worked, but oof, dude, I'm burnt right now. All right, guys, we got about 18 minutes until the market opens. Yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing right now is the range is working more than anything. Like, you can kind of see this range here. Like, very sideways, very choppy range. Kind of a boring day. We did a poll here. We asked people, does tomorrow's CPI show up higher or lower? 40% think higher, 24% think lower, 22% think as expected, 13% said I don't know. So most people think inflation is going to come in a little bit hot tomorrow. So we'll see what that looks like. But most people think we're going to have slightly higher than inflation. Yeah. What do we need tomorrow? I mean, if you want rate cuts, we need lower inflation. We need lower inflation tomorrow if we want rate cuts. So if we want rate cuts, we need lower inflation. If you want optimism towards earlier cuts, you want low inflation tomorrow. Yeah, that's the 200 EMA bounce. You can see that's why I pivoted to a buy position there, and it worked. So the market can fly tomorrow if we come in lower than expected, which is a big if. I don't know. Yeah, so the market can fly if we show up lower than expected tomorrow, which is a big if. We'll see. I got a question, guys. Does my audio come in better here? So this is a test. Or here? Does my mic come in better now or the first one? Tell me first or second. So 1, 2. Here's 2. Let me know if it sounds better now with 2. I'm just trying to see if maybe they're reading my mic. It's just not showing up. The first. Okay, yeah. So me talking like this probably helps. Okay. Gotcha. All right, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll get the mic working tomorrow, Chad. I don't know what's going on with stuff, but yeah. All right, so look at this pullback here. So we pulled back right at that 860 level. Now we're hitting 850s, just broke underneath it. We're still pushing down some. Watching NVIDIA, Tesla here. Still dropping though. Could not figure out how CPI become lower. Well, it's not lower literally. All right, look at this drop. Look at this drop. Okay, so Micron. Okay, so we got a couple things here. We got Wells Fargo CFO says they expect branches to contribute to growth according to a conference. We also have the EU Commission has reportedly proposed cutting the Russian oil price cap to 44 BBL via Bloomberg. Micron is shipping their HBM4 to key customers to power AI. And we have a Reuters poll on the Bank of England rate decisions, and they say the Bank of England is to lower rates by 25 basis points in quarter 3 and quarter 4, taking the base rate to 3.75%, which is the same as the May poll. UK economic growth to average 1% this year and 1.2% next year in 2026, the same as the May poll. We also just recently broke under the 200 exponential, and I would say the trend is slightly negative, but sideways. So we got a sideways trend. It's slightly negative. Like if we draw, like it's slightly negative. Like here's the trend, right? Like it's sideways, but pretty increasingly like red here. This is what I would say we got on the chart. Although we got some levels. Let's see if 850 rejects it. That's what I want to see. I want to see if 850 rejects this. All right, so there's a rebound back up. We're up to 850. I want to see if 850 rejects it. I'm going to try to short this rejection too. Let's see. 850 tapped it. Let's take some size here. Oof. Yikes. What a pop. Start to scale out my size here so I don't lose too much on this one trade. What a big jump. I think we're still green, but I see some news regarding the president and overseas conflict stuff. We're not getting any lag, are we? I just want to make sure. No lag, correct? If we have high CPI, Fernando. All right, so listen. If we have high CPI, brother, what it means is that inflation is worse, which means that we have less of a probability of rate cuts. You know, in order to cut rates, the Fed needs two specific things, very specific things. They need price stability, meaning like low prices and inflation, like low inflation. We need lower inflation and price stability. That's one of the things the Fed needs if they want to cut rates, because if not, the risk is that cutting rates will make inflation worse. And so they don't want to contribute to worse inflation. That's number one. So they need lower inflation data to give them the green light to cut rates. That's the first thing. The second thing they need is a justification for it. If the labor market, like one of the reasons the market ran Friday is because payrolls came out much stronger than expected. And so if payrolls are much stronger than expected, it means we have less of a need to cut rates, because one of the reasons you cut rates is if the economy turns weak. What shows a strong economy? Strong payroll numbers. And so the Fed needs low inflation and a weak economy in order to get more of a green light to cut rates. And so that's basically what they're saying right now, is that we don't need to cut rates because the labor market's strong, payroll showed stronger than expected, as well as inflation is a risk. So that's basically what the Fed's saying right now. Yeah. I mean, we're going to lose sometimes, guys. It doesn't really matter too much. If we earn $70 and then lose 30, you know, it's not the end of the world. Like, we can have a physical stop and or we can have a mental stop and be fine. The range is small. Even that, like, what it pushed up against me is not a lot. It's not something that I would have put a stop loss anywhere before where I got out, you know. It just doesn't mean too much. It might look big because of the chart, but like, this is honestly a really small range. If I can take 2 or 3 micros or more, if I could take 6 micros and be down $30 in a trade, that's a pretty small range of the day, you know. So it's all good. Yeah, all good, Lee. Good. As long as there's no lag, we're good. Yeah, I'm just wondering what this trend, like we had the trend right here. We're watching it, but a lot of it depends on Tesla and Nvidia. I might buy this now if we get a pullback. All right, so we got 5 contracts. I'm trying to just ride this up some to 860 first. If we get a pop to 860, we'll take some off and then see if it keeps running. But that's honestly what we're looking at, is a bounce to 850, 860, kind of a scalp. All right, so China-US trade talks continue after lunch. Okay, let's see what that looks like. We'll watch it. All right, so this looks pretty good. There we go. All right, we're gonna hold one micro contract. We got the 860 level that we wanted. Yeah. We're gonna try to maybe add to this here. As long as we don't get a double top at 860 is what I don't want, but take a little swing on the last piece. All right, we're out. Yeah, we made a good little bit up there. We got 860, exactly what we wanted. All right, guys, we got 7 minutes until the market opens. 7 minutes. Hey, what's up, Towers? How you doing, bro? Let's see if we bounce at 850 is also what I'm looking at. All right. All right, so we're gonna day trade the opening bell. Let's see if we get a bounce right here. We got 5 minutes. 5 minutes left. There's the 200 EMA bounce. It does look weak here though, but I don't want to go crazy, honestly. Yeah, we're right at the 200 EMA here. Right at the 200 exponential. All right, so look at this drop. So we just got a pretty big red candle show up about 5 minutes into the open. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow is really where we're going to see if the tariffs are going to have a big influence over prices. All right, so now we're under the 200 EMA. Look, so now we're under the 200 EMA. Do I want to short this pop? Eesh, I don't know. See if we retrace back down first before I get the green light to short it. We are at the bottom of the range here. It's a pretty big candle, but I could also short into it, have some extension. I think NVIDIA bounced right at the VWAP. They're going to talk about it after the bell. We'll see. I'm waiting on it. We'll cover it if they do. Talking about oil. All right, so we're back up some. Disney CEO says that they're currently incorporating Hulu into Disney Plus. Apps will be fully integrated according to CNBC. ESPN Plus will be incorporated on launch later in 2025. All right, so we're right back up. We're still confirming the trend. And I'm watching NVIDIA and Tesla, especially NVIDIA, rise. Where's Apple at this morning? So here's Apple. Apple's down under 201s. Look at Apple dip though. This is driving markets down. Look at Nvidia fall here. Wow, look at this drop. And Nvidia specifically, this is what's driving the market back down. Apple retraced back up, but this looks weak. I'm gonna short. There we go, and I'm out. We just made about $60 in like 5 seconds, but I don't want to hold through the opening bell. So let me see what we're up on the day. Yeah, we just made a good bit very quickly. I'll have to look at exactly how much I made. I thought I made 60. Maybe it wasn't that much. Hold on. Look, these drops are coming from Nvidia specifically here. I should have held maybe, but 2 minutes chat. Yeah, we made $45 quick. Could be conflict stuff. Let me see if there's anything else. Try to see if there's any Nvidia news. We got Taiwan Semiconductors up after 40% sales jump in May. All right, guys, here's the opening bell in less than a minute. Oh, it could be the MOO. I guess that's true. It could be the market on open. He's supposed to be speaking at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's the market on open. Imbalance data. All right, here we go. Market's about to open. All right, here's the opening bell. All right, there's the market open. We got Apple on the bottom. We're going to watch Tesla as well. We got Nvidia up to 143s in the first 10 seconds since the opening bell. Apple shooting up to, Apple technically green on the day after a huge green candle all the way up to 202s. Apple up 1.5% in about 30 seconds here. Let's see if it holds. It's technically green on the day though, so the Apple candle is slightly green right now. A lot of it's going to depend on Nvidia. You can see Nvidia creeping down, retracing, slightly green on the day for Nvidia, but trying to hold its support. And Apple just rising here up to 202s from 200s basically. So yeah, Apple up about 1% since the opening bell. Look at the NASDAQ shoot up with this news coming out. Yeah, markets are surging right now. Nvidia's trying. It's at 142s or 143s. Apple's still getting up there too. It's at 202s. Market's trying to hold here. We're going to wait at least 2 minutes into the opening bell. We got pretty good cushion on the day, though, that we can play with since the open. We just dipped. Nvidia just turned red, so be careful. If Nvidia holds red, it's now green. You can see this previous closing price, this light blue line right here. It's at about 142.65 on Nvidia. But look at Apple surge. Nvidia is going down, Apple's going up, which means we could get choppiness. So just be careful right now, chat. Again, Nvidia going down, Apple moving up. We could have choppiness, so watch out. World Bank also lowered their 2025 global growth forecast by 4 percentage points versus January, citing trade tensions. So again, World Bank just lowered their 2025 global growth forecast by 0.4 percentage points versus January, citing trade tensions. So that news came out. Look at Nvidia dip down. Nvidia down to 142.40s. Apple starting to push up still. It's at 202.50s here. So we are getting chop right now. But Apple is trending one way and Nvidia is trending the other. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla fell down a little bit since the open, and Tesla's very flat since the opening bell, not really doing anything. But look at Apple go, and then look at Nvidia fall. So two different directions here. It looks like Nvidia is holding a little bit more weight. Nvidia down under 142, technically red on the day now. Apple technically green still. I'm gonna try scalping this market with 2 contracts here. We got a cushion on the day, but I'm not gonna hold it very long. Yeah, I think I gotta cut half of that there, and I'll cut the rest right there. Just went up against me quick, but we'll wait. Maybe trade a little bit too early since the open. Still green on the day, by the way. So, see, I do like this though here. I'm gonna short again. Maybe get faked out. Looks like I am getting faked out. I want to see if we reverse, but I want to give it time. I see Apple starting to turn is what I'm trying to attack here. A little risky, but we're 3 minutes into the day, so we probably got the green light. There we go. Adding a little bit. There we go. That's what we wanted right here. All right, so just made about $60 or $70 on that one trade, and I still kind of want to short this, but I'll wait and give it a second now. Should have shorted it again, but that's all right. Again, Amgen exec says the company is closely tracking developments and continues to engage with policymakers regarding tariffs, taxes, and more. Also, guys, we're day trading on Topstep right now. Topstep gives you a 50K demo. They test your skill with a 50K demo. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. The base one's $50 a month. They give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit on that demo without losing 2K first, following their rules and conditions, they fund you 50K, 90% split, and they pay out millions. They paid out almost 100 million. They fund thousands. It's a beautiful way to learn how to day trade when most day traders lose money. And if you put up the money yourself, let's just be honest here, you're probably going to lose. And so trying something like this when you learn makes perfect sense, considering most day traders lose money. I mean, I'm biased because I get paid by them, and I always try to be honest with people about it. Like, I'm pretty biased, of course, but genuinely makes sense if you want to learn how to trade, to learn in a structured environment like this versus like funding your own account tens of thousands of dollars and probably losing this like most day traders end up doing. But if you want to check it out, again, here's the link. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. This is the first plug I've done all day in hours. So I've only done this plug today. We had some mic issues that we were struggling with, but understand all this stuff on screen. Can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. And yeah, we'll see if we can keep making some money here. I'll pin this to the top of the chat so you can check it out. Still trying to make some money in this. It's not that I'm congested, it's that my mic is wacky right now. That's what it is. All right, so Apple's still trying to hold this trend. NVIDIA is actually trending red since the opening bell. I want to see if Apple holds. I kind of want to short this. I think I'm going to try to short this. We'll take one, just one. Let's see how this little guy goes first. I want to see if NVIDIA keeps breaking down and Apple retraces. But if Apple starts to rip up, we'll cut this quick. Yeah, we got to cut it. All right, so we lost a little bit there, but still green. Still net since the opening bell, green too, I think. As long as NVIDIA doesn't get rejected at like 142.50s, we could go long here. Kind of a choppy open, honestly, ahead of CPI day tomorrow. There goes Apple Go. Has Tesla done anything yet? So Tesla actually breaking down this morning. I'm gonna try shorting this again. Just a lot of the time, like, if Tesla starts trending down, if Apple starts trending down, we'll see how it goes. We're flat, slightly green, flat again. I want to see if NVIDIA starts to turn, is what I want here, honestly, but it's been a little wacky of an open. There we go. Green. See if we can keep going green. Slightly up on the trade. See if we fall down some more in the NASDAQ. I'm going to take some risk here, see if we retrace, but be prepared to cut it if not. Yeah, I got to cut it. Too much of a push. Still green probably on the day, but choppy day going back and forth. I think we got to keep watching Apple. Is Circle really down that much? Well. Alright, I'm going to be stubborn here and try to make some money shorting. We'll see. Eesh. You don't love to see it. Try to see what's spiking this up, but yeah, we're definitely red on the day now. Let me see what we're at. I mean, we're on a 5-day green streak, so like a red day is going to eventually get here. Yeah, we're down about $100. We're going to switch to our other funded account and play with this thing this morning. I don't want to give too much back in that other one. We're very green on that other one, so if we're not up that much, I want to just wait. Let me make sure no news came out. I see ECB news. I know I'm getting stubborn with shorts. I don't know why I'm getting so stubborn with shorts today, but I think shorts make sense. Leading into CPI, we could have chop, so that's what I'm trying to short, but it's risky when we're so strong on the open. All right, we're not going to add any more to this. We'll wait. See, NVIDIA fell to the VWAP. We're basically, there we go. We're green. We're going to take a half of this off here. We'll hold these last two contracts and see if we can really let this work. Really indecisive price action right now, but there we go. There we go. That's what we wanted. We'll cut that there. Yeah, the Apple event, it didn't really hurt anybody, but I don't think it helped much either. Just based off of everything. Yeah, I mean, we made money on that last one. Yeah, this is why, like, people are like, oh, stop shorting, stop shorting. Oh, it doesn't make any sense. This is why you can't listen to people on the internet, is because, like, look, I get high of the day breakouts might work sometimes, but a lot of the time people are buying those things at the very top of the range, and like everything's just kind of extended, and then it just ends up coming back down. I think today we're gonna have choppiness, which is why we're starting to see like a retracement in Nvidia. We're seeing a retracement in Apple, and in turn, we're seeing a pretty big retracement in the NASDAQ. And so this is why, like, respectfully, telling everybody what to do sometimes can just be the wrong thing. That's why I always try to tell people, like, look, I have no idea what's going to happen. But shorting made perfect sense right there. And yeah, we'll see if we come back down. Nvidia looks really weak here, too. Let's try shorting this now. We'll wait. I'll take one. We'll just take one. There we go. Yeah. Cut it there. Yeah, so we're down a little bit in one. Nice, Corey. Yeah. We're back up now, too. And then Apple bouncing a little bit at the previous close. It depends on what Nvidia does here, though. Yeah, everybody always looks for breakouts, and I think people like chase breakouts a little bit too much, especially on days before CPI. I think it's much more probable that we're going to chop. I think we've chopped most of the morning. I think a sideways range makes the most sense in the days preceding big economic reports like CPI, and I think sideways action just made more sense. Let me see if there's any news breaking here. Hold on. So I see a ruling about Google is going to face regulators ruling by next week. That's the only news I see right now. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where it's like, look, if I short the top of the range, sometimes we're going to get broken out. Like sometimes it's going to break out and it's, and so if people come out and they're like, oh, bro, you shouldn't have shorted there. It's like, yeah, but a good percentage of the time, we're also going to reject at the top of the range and stay choppy. And so acting like anything is definitive, which is something that you see a lot of rookie traders do, like acting like anything's like super definitive in markets shows a sign of like inexperience. Like there's so much variance with stuff like this, so you either look like a genius or you look terrible. And that's just kind of the nature of trading. But it's important to just look at the stats and probabilities. And my stats recently are I'm up 5 days in a row, up pretty decently in my main account that I've been trading for the last 5 days straight. This account we don't really trade on too much, but it's just the account I kind of switch to if I'm down on my other account and I don't want to give back my profits anymore, I'll switch to this account and trade it. Vacation's good, man. I'm ready to go home, though, to be honest. I'm probably going to cut it like pretty soon here, to be honest. We don't have anything this week. Nothing's going on this morning. And I might just get out of here and prepare for next week is I think what I'm going to do. And so again, if you haven't already, check out Topstep. Again, I'm trading on Topstep right now. They give you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. You pass the test, they fund you. You fail, you only lose what you pay for it. It's a beautiful way to learn. Like most day traders lose money. If you try to fund your own account 5, 10, 20, 30 grand, let's all be real here, you're probably going to lose. Doesn't matter what your mentor says. Your mentor might say, hey, if you buy their course, you're going to be some type of savant guru trading and live off of your trading in two weeks. Total nonsense. It takes years to condition yourself to learn to make the right decisions in trading. And that takes time. And Topstep just helps you build that regardless of what anybody says. They have some of the best rules in the funding game, the most reliable payouts. Some of the most reliable payouts in the funding game. You want to confirm all this with them. I'm biased, but genuinely very useful for learning how to day trade. And if you're good enough and you want to get started for cheap, $50 a month for the base one. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split, 0 commission on Topstep X. So if you go to my link, use Topstep X. Just a beautiful way to learn. And yeah, we'll see what we get. Tomorrow's CPI day, guys. So I'm trying not to destroy everything. But I'll see you guys later. Y'all be safe. Have a great day. Again, stay safe in this market, guys. I'll put the link up one more time. Stay safe in this market. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Have a good day, chat.